Welcome back to Season 3 of Driving Performance. I'm your host, Tom Shea, the co-founder and CEO of Agile Media Group. I'm really excited to introduce our next guest, Dennis Katsnelson, the VP of Marketing at Ithaca Hummus. Dennis is the VP of Marketing at a fast-growing New York-based natural foods brand. Ithaca Hummus' mission is to make eating well easy with minimal ingredients and maximum taste. Dennis earned a BS in marketing from NYU Stern School of Business, which helped cultivate his strategic thinking and entrepreneurial mindset. He did a stint at GoGo squeeZ for 6 years and is now leading marketing at Ithaca Hummus, which is on pace to do $50 million in revenue this year, and in lifetime, I think it's done over $150 million in sales. Dennis, welcome to Driving Performance.
Thanks so much for having me. Excited to be here.
So I like to start these off all the same. For our audio-only listeners, how would you describe what is happening right now?
What is happening right now in the
What is this
truck?
set? What is this set? Because I can't picture it.
I would think of it as a somewhat warmer ice cream truck because it's hot. Balls outside. But it's a transparent glass cube on wheels, and we are sitting on a pretty popular New York City corner with tons of people walking by and just staring at us. So that's
Yeah, well, welcome to the Pubmobile.
yeah.
So I want to introduce the format of the podcast. As we are in a truck, there will be 4 different stops along our route today. Stop 1 will be Dennis's personal story. So going back, all the things pre-GoGo squeeZ, pre-Ithaca Hummus that kind of led you to where you are today. Okay. Then stop 2 will be the professional story, talking a little bit about Ithaca Hummus, diving deep on how you guys have scaled it to where it is today. Stop 3 will be a game called the Hot Box, a tongue-in-cheek version of the Hot Seat, a this or that style question game. And then stop 4 will be our final stop. We will outro. We'll tell people where they can go connect with you, find Ithaca Hummus. You ready to dive in?
Awesome. Sounds good.
All right. So let's go all the way back. Early days, Dennis. Obviously, you ended up in marketing and consumer. I want to go back to the upbringing. Were there any obvious influences or clear things that set you on the path to where you ended up today?
Yeah, I would say there's a couple. I think first is my upbringing and family. So, first one born in the United States. My family comes from Belarus, former Soviet Union. I like to say I'm Russian, but technically my family's from Minsk, Belarus.
Okay.
And so my father, I think, instilled in myself and my brother that, if you want to be successful, you have to run your own company, be entrepreneurial. And so that kind of set the bar for my future, right? Like, I think in school, grade school, like they'd ask me, what do I want to be? And I'd always be like, a businessman. I'm going to run my own company, right? So that kind of started it all for me. And then I think another big push is I actually went to a nerd high school. It's one of the top high schools in the U.S. It's called...
Sorry, nerds are sexy again.
I love nerds.
We're having a moment.
Yeah. So in northern New Jersey, where I grew up, there's a school called the Bergen County Academies.
Okay.
And it has multiple academies. And so I attended the Academy for Business and Finance.
Got it.
Where I got to really play around with a lot of marketing things, marketing organizations, marketing clubs, like case studies. So I was involved with those. But I also got to really get myself into like the creative world. So we had like a whole visual academy, actors, musicians, and film. And so one of the internships I actually did there during our senior year, we do internships on Wednesdays. I worked with our film instructor. And so that kind of, I think, blended all of my interests of like entrepreneurship, marketing, like techiness, and film. And that's ultimately what I went to school for at NYU Stern. So it all ladders up. And, now I'm in CPG and entrepreneurial fields doing fun marketing stuff.
Yeah, and so tell me a little bit more about maybe it sounds like your dad might have had some influence. So they immigrated to the States.
Yeah.
What do they do? Are they entrepreneurs? Your family?
So they are not. I mean, my dad has worked in like the telecommunications networking side of things, but for all of the major banks, financial institutions, like big hospitals, building out the data centers. Can't tell you more of what he does. But back home, I mean, he had started his own company and was pretty successful and had to drop it all to move here to the U.S.
Yeah.
And so I think in his experience and what he's seen and, as an immigrant coming to the U.S., getting a taste of that like American freedom and
right.
dreams, I think he wanted that for his children. And so, my brother is also in business, but in finance. So he's a CFO of a company. I always call it, he went into the boring, like very traditional financial,
the safe
finance. A finance douche, not actually. No, he's great. But I went into the more fun, creative side of business.
Okay, cool. And then, so how, was there a clear pull to that? You talked about the academy, there were different academies. So were there different pathways that you could have moved? And also kind of crazy that early you're kind of being thrust down a specific pathway.
Yeah, for sure. First of all, like when you're in 6th grade or 7th grade and you have to decide what academy do you want to go into, you have to test into this. So it's like college.
Yeah, it sounds like college.
In 7th grade, you're prepping. You need, I think there was like 3 teacher recommendations. You need to apply, so a whole application with essays. You need to test into it. Then you do interviews. There are like whole prep centers in Bergen County for this. So it's wild, but
kind of big money.
I always joke that if I was to go back and start over, I'd want to go into the culinary academy.
Okay.
Because they have like really cool chefs, and they just have like these cake competitions, and it's just the most fun. I think they have the most fun. So
yeah, that sounds pretty fun.
I would want to do that. But I mean, there's medical science and technology, like engineering, business, the whole like visual, music, film, creative academy. So lots of cool stuff.
Did you find you were naturally attracted to one over the other, or was that like parent upbringing pushing you in a specific direction that, led you there?
I think half parents and half me. Like ever since being a kid, I would always like tinker with stuff. I've been saying, fortune favors the tinkerers, and especially now with all this AI proliferation, it's really the tinkerers who went out, in my opinion. Yeah, and I don't know what you said that made me think of it, but like I would make little like paper slippers that were like boats that I would put on my feet, and like I would do science fairs like in elementary school. I think I had an RV, the remote controlled car that I attached like vacuum parts to so that you can control and clean up your home that way. So always just playing around with stuff. So I think it's natural that I gravitated to the business academy and went down that route.
Yeah, and so we're in New York City. You went to NYU Stern. Tell us about that pathway.
Yeah, it's crazy. We're actually 2 blocks away from where I started as a freshman. I was on 5th Avenue and 10th, so right here by Union Square where we are right now. And it's a dream. I came from New Jersey, but New Jersey is very different from Manhattan. And you think like a lot of people from the burbs think they're New Yorkers, but really, you come in occasionally.
From Long Island, so we're not New Yorkers. We're suburbanites.
Exactly. So coming here, being close enough to home, but far enough that you can start like a whole new world was exciting for me. And I applied. I was not sure, like, do I want to go into business school or do I want to go into film producing?
Yeah.
Because I had tinkered with and played with film production.
Right.
But I really decided that, hey, it's safer to go into business, that, there's a lot of talented people in the film world. And I'm like, I just don't know if that's me. And I think I made the right call because while I was here, so I was in Stern undergrad, so I did a marketing major. I did a special program that was between Stern and NYU Tisch, the film school. It was called the Business of Entertainment, Media, and Technology.
Okay.
I did a film producing minor at NYU Tisch, and then I wanted to do an entrepreneurship minor, but they're like, Dennis, you're too crazy. You won't be able to graduate. So I took some courses in entrepreneurship as well. So like I said, everything, I think that perfectly encompasses who I am and all my interests, desires, passions.
It's interesting. Yours feels more, I feel like the path is always like weird and circuitous. Like I majored in stuff that had nothing to do with what I'm doing today. And but I do think it's, I kind of look back at it and I'm like, maybe those things kind of had their own influences and stuff like that. So NYU, tell me a little bit more about sort of like the back half of NYU. So did you have, like, you ended up in consumer, but it's clear you dabbled in a few different spaces. I'm sure there was a few different things you could have pursued. Was there something or an inflection point or an experience that pushed you towards consumer, whether an internship or a mentor or something? How did you end up in consumer? Because, looking at the history, you've been there since post-grad, and I love the industry, obviously. It's the best industry. But how did you end up going into consumer?
Yeah, I think I was fortunate to have a couple different great internships, some that I liked, some that I didn't like so much, and that's what drove me into there. There was one in particular. So I was lucky enough to have some friends who were doing a marketing challenge or competition. It was with Dannon, which is, the largest yogurt manufacturer. And so they were putting on a competition here in the US, school by school. And so we formed an NYU team. We won like regionals at NYU, then went to nationals. We became the United States national champions.
Wow.
And
you got to tell us more about what was it? What was the challenge?
So I got to go back into my memory. They were basically just saying like develop any marketing plan, launch plan for I think any one of their lines. I think we had chosen a yogurt line that was more prevalent in Europe.
Okay.
And in general, Europe, France, like they consume yogurt so much more. I remember
leading indicators.
And and here in the U.S., I think it was called Dan Active. It was a little beverage bottle, but yogurt bottle.
I can picture it.
But it wasn't as popular here in the U.S. So we wanted to transform that. And I remember we built this whole face of the campaign, Dan Active Dan, and all this fun stuff. And we had a tagline actually. Oh, it was with spooning. It was so good. I think that's what won people over. You don't even have to spoon. That sounds lame and bad. But there was a good tagline, I promise you. So that's what we did for that. We won. We beat out all the other teams. We were flown out to Paris headquarters.
Wow.
Got to meet other teams globally from there. And I think that was the moment where I said I want to do this.
Right.
And at that time particularly, a lot of CPGs, a lot of marketing roles, you had to be an MBA grad to do it. And I had told them I want to work for you guys, meaning internship.
Yeah.
And they're like, you're a freshman or sophomore, whatever I was. And I'm like, no, I don't care. I don't need an MBA. I want to work for you guys. And ultimately their head of HR, I think saw the passion in me and said, okay, let's give this kid a shot. And that one internship, I think, is what really drove me to all of these CPG brands.
Right.
I think I kicked ass that summer. They invited me back. I had actually gone on to, I thought it would be beneficial for me to try something different that summer. And I actually did an internship at Unilever at the time.
Okay.
At Degree for Men deodorant, antiperspirants. I also had tried, the year before I was at NBC Universal, so I have the 30 Rock, NBC.
A little bit more in the media art
tried
side.
The media, right?
See if it's for you.
I went into fashion. I did Giorgio Armani.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so it was a trade marketing internship, and I always like to joke I had no clue about fashion. I just knew it from what you see in shows and movies.
Right.
And how, people just don't eat food in, fashion. I was the fat ass. It was right across from Chelsea Market. I'd be coming back with, milkshakes and crepes. Yeah. And, there was a brownie company.
Living large, baby.
Exactly. Literally. But, no, it was good. I got some free Giorgio Armani sunglasses out of it.
Still got them?
Still do. I think I gave them to my dad, though. But that's when I realized, maybe fashion or trade marketing isn't exactly the role I like. Media was more interesting to me at the time, but then, I had the whole Dannon thing and Unilever thing, and that's where I really got the sense of brand marketing, brand building, brand development.
Yeah, it's cool. You got so many diverse experiences over that, I guess, those 4 years, because I feel most people generally only get one. And I think whether it was confirmatory or exclusionary, you're able to be all right, I like this, not I was in love with this, not in love with this. And so I think that dovetails nicely into postgrad. So you had all these internships. What were you thinking towards the end? Did you intern somewhere and they brought you back? Talk to me about the transition into postgrad life.
Yeah, so I had a bit of a shocking moment where I thought I crushed it at Unilever, and I had actually developed a whole new product, but I don't think I got along that well with my manager at the time. And long story short, they didn't invite me back. That was funneling people into a 2-year program at Unilever, and I didn't get invited back.
Yeah.
And I was pretty bummed, and I think it actually turned out for the better, because I think there's moments like that where you realize you're set out to do, I don't want to say bigger and better, but Unilever is one of the traditional big CPGs, and I'm I don't need them. I'm going to go pursue something cooler, something more unique, something smaller of my own. And so because I had those internships under my belt, I felt I was pretty experienced for a kid graduating for
more than
college.
Most.
Yeah. And so I kind of sat on it, and I'm I'm going to be picky. In general, I'm picky about everything.
Right.
And so I'm all right, I'm going to find something that makes sense. And I happened to discover GoGo squeeZ was interviewing for some innovation associate. Long story short, I went in, loved the interviewer who turned into my boss and like a great relationship. I love her, one of my mentors.
Shout her out.
Yeah, Alen from GoGo squeeZ.
She's still there?
No, she's not there, but still speak to her on the daily and work with her and help her, and have consulted and helped her on her businesses. And we're always talking, doing stuff. So one of my biggest mentors. But yeah, I realized that I wanted to be picky, and I think I found the perfect thing for what I wanted. And I joined GoGo squeeZ a couple of months after graduating, and I was working on innovation and quickly, rose up through there and got to get my hands dirty and did just about anything and everything on the brand side, marketing side of things. For my whole 6 years there, I worked on innovation, probably launched or helped launch like 2/3 of the GoGo squeeZ portfolio.
Yeah, and real quick for people who don't know the brand, I obviously do.
Yeah.
What is GoGo squeeZ?
So GoGo squeeZ probably created the whole pouch format for kids and babies. Now
Which is
just about universal, and you have tons more brands, but they completely flipped applesauce on its head. Applesauce used to come in cups.
Yep.
You had some main like heritage brands, and they turned it into a squeezer format, also coming from France, where they were doing it for 10 years. And so really exciting stuff. So between fruit pouches, fruit and veggie pouches, my baby project, or my baby at the time, I had developed GoGo squeeZ yogurts, which was really cool, and I think it's still one of the best performing lines.
That's crazy, the art.
Yeah, the yogurt.
One, we're back at Europe, two, we're back at yogurt.
French company, yogurt, although funny enough, it was shelf-stable yogurt, which also is very new for Americans.
Right.
Like, we think, what sort of crazy chemicals, preservatives are you putting into it? And it's just, a different processing, right? Like in Europe, you see eggs and milk that aren't refrigerated, and Americans don't understand that because we don't have that on our shelf. So long story short, launched a lot of cool stuff, launched like a new teen tween brand. So had a lot of fun with innovation, with running the brand. And that's where I got my true start. Spent 6 years, got really comfortable, got to know the whole company, was like in our CEO's kitchen in his home, like innovating, launching new stuff, traveling to France. So
I didn't know you had like a innovation, product formulation, development background.
That's my bread and butter, baby.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit more about like unmask or demystify that experience, and we'll talk about it in the context of Ithaca Hummus and probably how that helps equip you to be a strong marketer. But like, what does that experience look like? What does that role look like?
I think you have to have a good team. So even though I was, call it, leading innovation for certain projects, at the end of the day, I'm a marketer, right? I'm not the actual R&D scientist.
Right.
And so we have really talented, no matter where I've been, there's always really talented R&D folks. They're the people who actually have the degrees and understand food science, right? Like, I can't claim any of that. But like, I love visiting them in their labs, in their factories, and just like messing around. I think that's where really cool ideas form, where you're just fucking around. You're making like completely crazy recipes and innovations, and like that's how you figure out like what can you do here. I remember running a lot of like concept tests, or what I call like the CIA FBI rooms, where we would work with a lot of moms or a lot of kids, and you're sitting behind a glass.
You were doing that?
Oh, all the time, and they don't really know you're back
like
there.
Focus groups.
Yeah. And like
FBI, CIA got a little cooler, but
no FBI, CIA. Although I always wanted to be a special agent, and I had a nickname of 007 by one of my friends during after prom, but that's a whole separate story. Innovation. I think you have to really understand the market, the category, the trends. Like, my favorite show was Natural Products Expo West. Like, I lived and dreamed for that show. Besides exhibiting, and we had 2 booths, we were sponsors.
You've probably been going since like the beginning of time. I'm like new. I've been 5 years. I'm probably like new to the scene.
I hadn't gone in a couple of years. I went back this year for the first time in a while. So I was like, I just got so much energy.
Oh, it's the best.
But I was always going at GoGo, and besides having a booth outside, like right at the front doors, and inside, and we'd always launch new stuff, I would walk down every freaking aisle and talk to everyone. And I felt like I knew the trends and what was happening in the natural space better than anyone else.
Totally.
And I think that for me is what made me a really good marketer, innovator at the time, because I could tell you who's launching what's failing, what's working successfully, what's to come, like who are the early adopters or adapters. And so I think that's what brings like some maybe advantage to me, because I love to get a good pulse on on the market or the category and what's happening. And I got that a lot with GoGo and in that, development phase of my life.
And so how long, that was 6 years?
Yeah, about 6 years. And I think I left literally the week COVID was launched in the US. I had spent, I had
new innovation.
Yeah, new innovation, COVID. That's my goodbye. I didn't even have like a goodbye party. I left, all my stuff was in the office. Also here on 22nd and 5th. I had to get my stuff shipped back to me. I had to say bye to people over like Zoom.
That's brutal.
And it was like family to me. I had been doing so much there and it was really sad. And but that's COVID. Everyone has their COVID experiences and moments.
So what was the catalyst for leaving?
I think I just got too comfortable. Had done just a lot there at that point, and I felt like, in my young career, I needed to try something new, try something different. I actually ended up going into Big Hummus, let's call it that. So also had a really cool boss there. I'm not sure I was interested at first, but when I met with them, I became very interested. The title actually for the role, let me get this right, it was growth hacker.
Growth hacker,
that in general, it was still an innovation role, a marketing role, but the fact that they named it growth hacker, like that already right there tells you something about what they're looking to do, right? Totally. It's not the status quo. You're trying to disrupt and do something.
Right.
So that's what excited me. The team excited me. So I went to a hummus company, the one that you guys all probably know, Sabra. And I spent about 3 years there. And I first came and joined from the innovation side of things, working on new products. And then I transitioned into like the digital e-com side of things and led the whole e-com side and picked up shopper marketing. And that was really exciting because I've always, going back to my tinkering, I've always been very techie. I've also played with and started like some side hustles. I sell stuff on like Amazon and Etsy. And so I felt like we weren't doing enough there at the time. And so I had expressed interest and they're like, all right, like let's push Dennis into this. And then I built out, the team and all that.
Yeah. It's funny just hearing the backstory and then hearing the role growth hacker, like the tinkerer background and growth hacker. I can totally see that being like, oh hell yeah, that sounds like right up my alley.
Yeah.
So before we get to Ithaca Hummus, you said you sell some stuff on Amazon, Etsy. What do you just getting some muscle memory, getting some experience? Tell us a little bit more about that.
Sure. Didn't think I'd be talking about this.
Yeah, too bad. It's the hot box.
But so my brother was getting married in, well, I should know this, 2017, 2018. Don't quote me on the year.
Pre-COVID. This is pre-COVID, post-COVID era. That's how we think of things now.
Exactly. And again, knowing that I'm the creative guy, they were having about like 3 or 4 ring bearers.
Okay.
And so I was like, let me figure out what I could do. Because you always see on YouTube and Insta, people like dancing down the aisles or doing fun shit. And so I'm like, let me do something fun with this. And so I had seen at the time an idea growing of dressing, ring bearers, little boys up as ring security, like special agents. And so I saw
FBI, we're back. 007.
There we go.
Man, you got a lot of circles going here.
It all connects. And so I saw like this little new trend, like some random women on Etsy that were buying like a basic pencil case or whatever from Staples, putting stickering on it that said ring security. And that's where my whole innovation side of things kicked off in my head. I was like, dude, like I work and launch multi-million-dollar brands and products. Sure, I have multi-million-dollar funding and full cross-functional teams, but I've always had like crazy ideas that I've seen other companies launch. Like maybe I should just try to do something. Well, I guess I'm cutting to the chase, but my brother, for his wedding and his wife's wedding, I had put together and built this all on my own. Instead of ordering like this one box, I'm like, let me make this box myself. I wanted to outfit them as true special agents. I got them earpieces. I got them sunglasses. I handcuffed them to the little box. And I even made like little black baseball caps that say security on them. Surprisingly, Amazon was not selling like youth-size security caps. And so I had to go to like, your basic promo companies and I had to order, I think, 18 of them. So anyways, what
nice MOQs. 18, not bad.
Yeah. I mean, it was all just America at that point.
Yeah.
And so I did it for the wedding, and besides, the bride who gets the most attention, I think the most oohs and ahs and like clapping was for these ring bearers.
Sorry, brother.
No, real talk. Like, sorry, like these boys are really cute. And so after that moment, I think I sat on it for like months and months, and I'm like, I still have 15 hats left over. Like, let me try to sell them and make my money back.
Yeah.
And I threw them up on Etsy. Had no clue what I was doing. And they started selling like hotcakes. And that's where I had that trigger of like, again, I make products for a living.
Right.
Let me try to do this professionally versus the, shitty stickered on case. So I found vendors in China and I built out this whole new idea.
New CPG brands. Did you give it a name?
First, I started off with a name that was not good. I thought it was cool to like, when you leave out the vowels. So I did ring barrel without the vowels, but it looked like RNGBRR, which in my head was really cool. But when someone reads it, it's like ring burr, and it's like, what? So then I changed it to the Ring Legends. So now it's all about the legends and how these boys are acting like the Ring Legends. So I created this whole category on Amazon. There was not a single thing. Now go on Amazon, search up like ring security, ring bearer case. I have 20 copycats, literally one for one. David's Bridal, I was like, can I sue them? They copied my case to a T, except they didn't have like my branding on it. And so like, I still have it on the side. I don't spend enough time with it, but it's like one of the ways I still keep myself like curious and in the know with just like selling on Amazon, selling on Etsy, like my own like little D2C brand. How do you advertise? Like it was my first time doing Facebook ads, and not always succeeding, but like, it's fun. So.
Yeah, no, man, the tinkerers, all throughout. All right, stop to...
Oh, wait, and I have to say one more thing about
Do it,
that.
please.
Just like this past month, it was featured even, not my brand name, unfortunately, but in People magazine, because Robin Thicke, is that? Yeah. Robin Thicke and Usher in photos holding my security case.
Wow.
Because they had it, Robin Thicke at his wedding, had it, his son walked down the aisle carrying my case. It's gone viral on like Instagram, so it's been fun.
Wow, that's so fun. Anything else besides the Ring Legend?
No, nothing notable to talk about as of right now. Who knows in the future? Always.
We'll see. You can take over our toy truck consumer business, which is a CPG brand in its own at this point. Okay. Stop number 2. I want to talk about Ithaca Hummus. So I guess let's start from the very beginning. We have it right here, beautifully displayed. What is Ithaca Hummus? What's the mission? Tell us all the way from the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, simply put, I think if you can see on this truck, it's the best fucking hummus out there.
That's true.
Right? Like at Ithaca Hummus, we're trying to, shake things up. We don't like playing it safe. Life is short, as we say, and we don't want to settle for boring and bland. And so we believe we've created the best tasting hummus there is, better than anyone that anyone thinks hummus could even taste like, right? We hear all the time people saying, "Oh, I don't like hummus. Hummus is not for me." And I challenge them. I do a lot of consumer event sampling, and they come back and product speaks for itself, and they're like, "Holy shit! Like I didn't know hummus could taste like this." So that's who we are. Bold product, bold taste, fresh flavors, just the best hummus there is. And so we've been growing rapidly. It's a company started by Chris Kirby, our founder and CEO.
Let's talk about Chris.
Yeah, Chris, great guy.
Fun guy. So I was on Chris's podcast.
You were. Yeah.
The Bitcoin podcast, similarly enough. So when did he start the company? Because the company's been, around for a little bit. There's been some ups, downs, and now it's rocketing up.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit, to the extent that you can speak to it, about the early days with Chris and Ithaca.
Yep. So I, of course, was not there, but funny enough, like I said, I was in Big Hummus. And so even though I wasn't with Chris at the time, I was constantly monitoring, and I'm like, who's this Chris guy? Like, what is Ithaca Hummus doing? And I would watch everything they're doing and how they reacted and what they'd be launching. But so Chris Kirby, our founder, he started this in 2013, so about 12, 13 years ago now.
Pre-COVID.
He is a chef and was working in the restaurant industry, and I think he decided that he wanted to, change his life. Ended up moving back home, going to a community college, and realized, he's going to change his life, and he applied to go to Cornell, which is in Ithaca.
That's right. So
before he even got to Cornell, and I'm sure he can tell the story better than I can, he decided he wanted to launch something, do something, and so he visited a lot of the local grocery stores and Ithaca Farmers Market. And that's where he quickly learned there is no good hummus, or actually just no hummus, period, no local hummus. And so I believe before he even moved there or started attending, he decided for himself that, I am going to launch a hummus brand. So that's where the name comes from, Ithaca Hummus, from Ithaca. While going to school there, he created this product.
He got in.
He got in.
Did he start it before he got in or after?
You'll have to ask
check
him.
we'll have to check.
You know, we have to dial a friend and call him. But
I would die if this was just I just want to put on my resume so they let me in, and then it just turned into a massive company.
Yeah, no, I think he was doing it while there. He got like kitchen space. He's like a legend, not the ring legend, but a legend at Cornell for what he did, because he rented. I think the saying is like he spent a couple $100s on like a hand mixer, blender, like different little bowls and kitchen stuff, and ultimately all in like a couple $1,000, $3,000-$4,000, and started making this out of a kitchen, selling it out of his car in farmer's market, and started very slow. And now, we're here post-COVID, 12, 13 years later, and it's absolutely crushing. I think, it was slow. He's obviously had moments where he struggled. The brand has struggled, right? Like if you think about Target, for example, I saw a really awesome post on LinkedIn actually I think it was the buyer at Target who had brought Chris and the brand in at the time because he had tried it at some party or something. And unfortunately, it just didn't go. The brand was not prepared for it. And that's totally normal. Sometimes a brand just isn't yet ready for a Target, a Walmart, a big store. And so Ithaca Hummus did not survive in Target. Funny enough, just a month ago, we launched now in Targets. And so it's
Ithaca Hummus at Target.
Yeah, full circle moment. I'm sure it feels special for Chris.
Totally.
But I think inflection point is probably right during COVID 2020, I think started becoming like an 8-figure business. And really these last few years, this 1 to 2 years. So I've been with the company just over 1 year. And it's just taken off like a rocket ship.
Yeah.
When the whole category is like in decline or flat, when you see the big hummus guys who owned, 70-75% of market share and are down to like 30-35%, just massive distribution gains, getting into every single retailer and doing it well. And when people try it, again, people who haven't had hummus, like they're just amazed by this product. And so just, killing it with our products, with our brand. Consumers are loving it. Retailers, buyers are loving it. So it's a great place to be right now.
Yeah, and so talking about loving it, I want to break into the beautiful hummus we have. So question for you, what are the different SKUs that we have?
Yeah, so Ithaca Hummus has 10 different SKUs. Here we have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so majority of them. We have some OG ones. So lemon dill is one of the original ones. Lemon garlic as well. I think his first SKU was lemon garlic.
Okay.
But these have been.
He was always going straight into bold, big flavors, trying to differentiate from a boring.
Absolutely, this is not your classic hummus. You want to do something unique and different, and you can taste how fresh this is.
Lemon beet. Wow,
yeah, lemon beet. We should open that just for the color alone. It's like this beautiful color. I'm personally not the biggest beet fan, but even still, it's great. This has been, look at that color. You gotta like zoom in on that color. Yeah, let's
good.
There for a moment.
Dude, that looks like acai. So do you know? I know your carrots or crackers. Let's do carrots. Get a nice good ASMR crunch here.
Yeah.
Do you know the order that they launched in, or like what's old, what's new?
Oh, absolutely. So I can tell you, lemon garlic was. I'm 99% sure it was the first SKU.
Okay.
But lemon garlic and lemon dill are like I said, the originals. So grab your baby carrot.
Here we go. You can do it with me?
Oh, I'll do it with you. I mean, I tested it a bit, tasted it a billion times, but
the FBI.
we can do like a little cheers.
Yeah, do a little cheers.
All right, there we go.
Get it on the mic. Let me get on the mic. That's really good. I love beets, so
all right, so
I might be a super user of this one.
Yeah.
Quick lunch break.
Yeah, so beet is not as widely distributed, but where it is distributed, it just does really well.
Yeah. And so, to the extent that you're able to share, are there clear heroes? How many are there? There's 10, you said?
10 flavors, and we can talk about, this guy in a second.
Mm-hmm.
10 flavors. We've launched a good, 3 or 4 of them in the last year. So, French onion, my personal favorite. I think we'll have to try that next if you want to give it a try. It's a sweeter one, so I'll let you open that. That's been performing really well in terms of spicy.
Yeah.
This is one of our newest ones, jalapeno lime. Jalapeno lime. So we've launched this in Costco, different regions in a bigger tub. This flies off shelves or pallets, we should say in Costco.
Pallets, baby.
Pallets. Like, we are out of stock. People, this is one of the go-tos when, people say, I don't like hummus, and we're like, do you like spicy? Give this a try. Blown away by this product. Black bean. This is like a silent one that we just launched. People aren't aware of, but like silent killer.
Okay.
I've been running this. We just sold out of this on shelves. When people try this, also, like, you're not used to having a black bean hummus.
Yeah.
Like, I personally don't gravitate towards beans, but when you try it, it has a little kick to it.
Okay.
But, yeah. So.
All right, so next up we're trying the French onion.
Yes, French onion, my favorite. I can crush this on my own, so.
Eat it with a spoon.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah. That one, it's got like the sweetness of like the onion bagel.
Mm-hmm.
If people can like mentally picture that.
We actually have an everything bagel.
That's true. So that's my personal favorite.
Okay.
And but I'm like, I'm still early days. I don't think I've gone through the whole portfolio. That one's really good.
Yeah. But I love to, put this in like Mediterranean bowls, grilled chicken. Like,
Man, it tastes so much different than big hummus.
Yeah.
It's just like very obvious if you try it.
Very obvious.
All right, so let's back to the rise of Ithaca Hummus. So we talked about the ups and downs of it. Now it's objectively just crushing.
Yeah.
How do you think about the future? And I think, but I guess before we get to that, VP of marketing. Mm-hmm. So correct me if wrong, you weren't like in these traditional marketing roles prior. You were in more of like an innovation, maybe like a go-to-market role. Now you are leading marketing for the brand. The brand's comfortably doing 8 figures, on its way to potentially 9. Talk to me about what running marketing looks like for a brand that is so retail first.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. So I've been fortunate to have a couple different marketing roles, and it's funny. I had another mentor that I always looked up to.
Shout out.
Bill Graham. He was the president GM of GoGo squeeZ also at the time. And
GoGo squeeZ just pumping out killers.
Yeah, pumping out killers, you know it. And so at the time, given that I was doing innovation, I was like, I'm going to be the best fucking innovation person there is. And that's all I wanted to do. And I remember specifically taking a walk with Bill in Madison Square Park and doing circles there about my future. And he was the one who was like, Dennis, like, you don't need to be and work years and years in innovation to be a good marketer. Like, you need to try out other different things. As it is, you're really good at innovation already. And so I feel like I owe it to Bill because he's the one that kind of enabled me to think about who I want to be in the future differently. And then I had other CMOs and other leadership, good and bad, who, I've gotten a chance to try different roles. And so I've done innovation. I've done your general brand building, brand manager type roles. At Sabra, I've done, e-commerce, shopper marketing. And so that, I think, has all driven me, in addition to my own entrepreneurial side hustles, has driven me to understand all aspects of marketing. And so that's what I'm doing now, right? It's the next logical step for me. And luckily, I have that opportunity here at Ithaca. And it's awesome. I mean, the brand is awesome. We have really great people. And I was always trained that, it's customer first, consumer first. And so I like to work very closely with the sales team. We have a couple of great sales guys. And for me, it's always like, what do we do that's really good for the retailer as well? And that's, I think, where the shopper marketing component comes in, because a lot of marketers only care about the consumer and they kind of forget about what happens in store, what happens with the retailer, and how you treat the buyer.
It's your frontline people.
Exactly. And so going back to your question, I think it was like, how is it leading a team? I think it's great. I work remotely. I go into the office, which is in Rochester, every now and then, or see the team on the road, like when we're doing Costco road shows or other big events. But we have a really awesome team where, as a whole, our company in HQ is about, last I counted, like 18 people. Marketing is about like 5 people, sales a couple people.
Very easy you're doing those numbers with that lean of a team.
Yeah, so we're a lean team, and we just really have talented people and people who care and are excited and are, the best at what they're doing, at what they do. And my goal leading the marketing team is to primarily, first and foremost, care for them, because I've been in positions where I've had leadership that, doesn't even say hi to you when they're walking through the hallway, right?
Yeah.
So I've learned a lot about like the type of leader I want to be and how I want to treat, my team and work with other individuals. And so for me, it's about caring for the individuals, educating them, mentoring them, I think giving them opportunities to try new things, also opportunities to fail. Like I failed in the past, I've had campaigns that don't work, but it's more a matter of like, how quickly can you bounce back? Can you figure out what was the issue versus like, being afraid to fail? And I think there's those companies and teams where like people are afraid to try cool shit because of, they'll be reprimanded in a bad way. So that's who I am. That's how I try to act and try to be a good leader. And it's just a really exciting time and great role.
Yeah. All right. So Ithaca Hummus now, especially with the Target launch, you're running out of new doors to unlock. The company is doing incredibly well. How do you think about what's next? And I think that dovetails nicely kind of into maybe some partnerships.
Yeah. So unfortunately, I think we ran out.
Sold out.
We're not sold out. I think the guys in the back probably ate that tub. But we have a brand new collaboration with Graza Olive Oil. And so it's called Ithaca X Graza Olive Oil and Sea Salt. It's a brand new flavor. It launched first in Whole Foods. And
launched at Expo first, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, I think it launched at Whole Foods like the week before, something like that. But the big launch, yes, at least in the industry, was at Expo West, where if we want to talk about that, we had a booth dedicated just to that product, just to that collaboration. Graza team was there and supported us with it, but we had a lot of fun. We had a snacky hour where we combined a couple different great companies. So Firehook Crackers, Graza, who else? Aero Farms, Belgian Boys, and we created these little, again, Chris is a chef, so he created these little like hors d'oeuvres, little starters. We talked about my Belarusian background. I have a direct connect to the caviar world, so I got my man Boris to
How did I miss that part? Bro.
We got 16 pounds of black caviar shipped to Expo West. And so we had these little, we were thinking Blintzes at first, but shout out to Belgian Boys. They hooked us up with the little pancakes, black caviar, I think some like Aero Farms greens on top. Fishwife was there. We used some of their fish.
Yeah, with Fishwife truck somewhere over
Shout out to them. And so we were giving out black caviar at Expo West. And so we got a lot of coverage for that and for our booth. And first and foremost, obviously our collaboration, the fact that these two really awesome brands came together. And so that's our new product. You can see we actually have this truck here which says best fucking hummus because it is. It's just the best.
How's that SKU been doing?
Dude, if we want to talk about any SKU, that's been just lighting it up in Whole Foods. So we launched in Whole Foods. It quickly rose to the top, not only becoming, a best hummus SKU, but the best dip. So forget hummus, just all dips, right? It just absolutely took over. And so after Expo West, obviously still in Whole Foods, but now we've launched it in Target, in H-E-B, in Sprouts.
I have it in my fridge.
Yeah, there you go. We're launching it, bringing it elsewhere right now. So really cool product, really cool collaboration. We've done some fun stuff with them. We're running this truck on the roads. I think I heard from your guys, I think it's launching actually on Monday. So
here we go.
For this truck, although you'll probably be watching this
in
the future. So, and what's cool about our company and being this small is like, going back to innovation, we can move very quickly. I think I was actually texting with Chris and we were talking about the olive oil industry, and you hear about seed oils and olive oils, and like social media was talking about that. And I think Chris like messaged me and was like, what do you think if we do a partnership with Graza? And I think I replied to him like all caps. It was like, dude, that's fucking amazing, or like, let's fucking do it. And so he had reached out to the founders of Graza, and in less than half a year we went from just the idea of it to being in shelves, worked with the buyers at Whole Foods. So shout out to Whole Foods who made it happen. And it came to life, and it's huge collaboration for us in the industry.
All right, Dennis, we are now at stop 3, the hot box. You ready to rock?
Sure, let's do it.
All right, let's do it. Give up email or give up Slack?
Slack.
Cold plunge or hot tub?
Oh, hot tub all the way.
Sweet snacks or salty snacks?
I have a sweet tooth, so sweet snacks, yes.
Sampling in-store or influencer unboxings?
In-store.
Coffee or tea?
I don't drink coffee. Big tea guy.
All right. Canva or Figma?
Our designer's going to hate me for this because we use Figma, but Canva.
Winter or summer?
Summer. Big Aruba guy here.
Which trend has more staying power, protein or fiber?
Oh, ooh, that's a hard one. And it's something that I play with all the time. And talk
I
about.
bet you do.
Yeah, I used to do like a lot of stuff in the prebiotic fiber place. Americans love protein. They don't understand fiber.
Protein maxing right now as a consumer.
Everything. So I think that's more likely to be the case for Americans.
Telepathy or teleportation?
Teleportation.
Neat or messy?
Neat.
DTC or D2C?
I think I do like a combo. I say like D to C.
Yeah, it's kind of ambiguous.
But DTC. DTC. Yeah,
DTC.
is what I say.
$50 on red or black?
Oh, always on black.
In-house ops or outsourced agency?
B. Depends what you're doing. I'd say in-house.
Board games or video games?
Board games.
Spotify podcast or Substack deep dive?
Spotify podcast.
Beach house or ski house?
Both really good, but gravitated toward the warmth, so beach house.
All right. Work remote or return to office?
Remote, but hybrid is interesting.
Sunrise or sunset?
Sunset, definitely an evening guy.
Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, or TikTok?
IG.
You're forced to launch a SKU, pineapple pizza or candy corn? Innovation.
I'm gonna go pineapple.
All right, there we go. Pineapple pizza. Just to set the record straight.
New Ithaca flavor.
Ithaca flavor.
Spring 2026.
Live music or DJ?
We didn't talk about this. Another one of my little things. When I was in high school, I started a DJ company.
Oh, ho, ho.
So DJ.
All right, advertisement or advertisement?
Oh, I studied abroad in London, so definitely familiar with that, but advertisement.
All right, call, text, or audio notes?
Call, text, or audio notes? Text.
Give up bread for life or cheese for life?
Bread for life, I'd give up.
Air guitar or air drums?
Guitar.
Start early or leave late?
Leave late. 100%.
Trucks or billboards?
Oh, no question, trucks.
Good news or bad news first?
Start with the bad news, finish with the good news.
All right, well, the bad news is we've come to the end of our show. We're at stop 4.
Shucks.
Dennis, you've been a great guest. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Final stop. Where can people connect with you? Where can they find Ithaca Hummus?
Well, you can find me on LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, just about everywhere, although probably LinkedIn would be the best case professionally. Our hummus, just about everywhere, baby. At this point, we just launched in Target, Kroger, we're in Costco regions, Whole Foods, Sprouts. Go to our store locator on ithacahummus.com and you'll find it, but you can find us just about anywhere.
That's a wrap. Dennis, thanks so much.
Thank you, sir. Pleasure.